Hey guys, I've transformed my garage into a classroom, and I hope this kind of works for you. We're going to just have a kind of a short little lesson today for Ag Science 2, and we're going to try to talk to you guys today about the Pearson square and how it's used in feed. A lot of you guys are sending in some great pictures for SAE Essential, and I want you to keep doing those. If you've already submitted one for your animals and livestock project or mowing project, keep doing that because it's awesome. We love filling up Twitter and Facebook and trying to keep doing those, and we're really proud of you for doing that. A lot of you guys right now are feeding steers right now for the county fair, which hopefully will still happen. I have no news on that, but hopefully it is. If you are a first-year exhibitor, though, I do want to remind you that you have an SMQA meeting or a SMQA quiz that you need to take by April 15th. Today what I want to talk to you guys about is animal nutrition, and we're going to talk, since many of you Ag Science 2 guys feed steers, we're going to talk about some steer requirements as feed. So we have two objectives today. The first objective is I want you guys to develop a better understanding of ruminant nutrition. So what does ruminant mean? It means there's 4 compartments of a stomach for an animal. So deer, cattle, sheep, goats are all ruminants, okay? It does not mean they have 4 stomachs, it means they have 4 compartments. The 4 compartments of a stomach are the omasum, the abomasum, the reticulum, and the rumen. The rumen is the big part, and if you went to Bradford Field Day a few years ago, you stuck your arm inside the rumen and you could feel inside there. We also want you guys to understand the Pearson square and how it's used in feed production. We did some Pearson squares in the meat science unit. We're going to do a couple of these and have you guys have a better understanding. Today I want to talk to you guys about 3 main things that we look at when we're looking at nutrition of animals, especially steers right now. So of the 3 different types of things that a lot of times are on that feed tag, one of the things is protein, and protein is helps to boost muscle growth. So if you are doing a protein shake, you might have some, you're trying to get heavier muscles, and the higher percentage of protein in a calf's diet is going to increase muscle growth. And a lot of times the younger a calf is, they're going to need a higher protein. Sometimes narrow-based cattle will need a lot of protein, and sometimes we want to kind of go the backward opposite effect and actually feed them less protein if they're heavy muscled. So it all depends on the things. All right, fat content. Fat is energy. Also carbohydrates, okay? And fat will help put finish on a calf. I always say a calf will get fat from the front to the back. And so their brisket will fill out, and then they'll get some more cover over their chuck and ribs, and then they'll get some pones and cod. And if you want an animal to be grading choice, and a lot of times if they grade choice, they're going to have a full cod, or when they start to fill in their flank. And so when they start to take a step and that fat in their flank fills in, that means that they're grading choice. A lot of judges will not use cattle that aren't grading choice at a county or state fair. So you want to make sure that you are putting the right stuff in your calf in order to do that. So the last thing that I want to talk about is fiber, and fiber helps to increase rumen health. And I want to kind of talk about this in a couple of different ways. One way is this, okay? A rumen's stomach is very sensitive. And if you change things really quickly, increase fat content really rapidly or decrease fiber, what you're going to do is you're going to see an increase of problems with their stools or the poop, if you will. Okay? You want their poop to be fairly solid and not runny, because when it's running right through them, it means that you're not having a good rumen health. So they actually put some additives in these feeds now to help inhibit that. And one thing is fiber, okay? So those 3 things kind of go together. What we're going to do is we're just going to simply talk about protein today, okay? According to North Dakota State University, a lot of feed, and on average...
I know it's protein milk.
Protein has milk. Very good, Seamus. Oats contain 12% protein. Corn is 9% protein on average. And soybean meal is 47% protein. And so a lot of times in your protein shakes, you might have a lot of soybean meal in there. Soybean meal has a lot of things. There's a company called Bunge, and Bunge always says that there's a lot of soybean meal in a lot of the products that you guys are having, and they say if you eat Bunge, okay? So North Dakota State came up with these figures, and I looked up those this morning. Oats have 12% protein, corn has 9% protein, and soybean meal has 47%. This right here is the diet.
Cheese.
Cheese has some protein in it too. Well, grower and finisher. Okay, so these are the numbers that Showtech has. So Mormon Showtech has. So Mormon's grower feed has a 12.5% protein, 3.5% fat, and a 14% fiber. So you want an increased amount of protein when these animals are growing. Now, here's the deal. This is not always the case. If you have an animal that's super heavy muscled, you might not want to feed them a grower ration because it can hurt their skeleton. But most animals that are pretty good in their skeleton, feeding them a grower ration is fine. Finishing rations, 11% protein, 4.5% fat, and a 13.5% protein or fiber. This is going to make sure that they have more fat and finish out good, so they'll taste good in grade choice. Remember that choice grade is going to have that marbling that we looked at and we talked about. So if you would, I want you guys to kind of look at this. The Mormon Showtech recommends about 2.5 pounds a day for every 100. So if you have a 1,000-pound animal, okay, 2.5 pounds a day is going to be about times 30, okay, or 2.5 pounds per 100 is 25 pounds a day. Thank you, Seamus. All right, so 25 pounds a day times 30 days in a month is going to be, you're going to be buying 750 pounds of feed that month. Well, that is 15 bags of feed. So 15 bags. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do a formulation for this. We're going to say a lot of times this feed will have a lot of different things in it. But I just want to do this. We're going to mix corn with soybean meal. So we're going to see how many parts of each we would have. And so that's what we do with the Pearson Square. Right now, a lot of nutritionists, they'll put a lot of different feeds in a formula. And I might talk about that in next week's lesson about, hey, if we have 4 or 5 different feeds in a formula, this is what we feed. I fed a lot of oats back when I was feeding show cattle a lot with corn. If I wanted to have a heavier muscled animal and not have as much fat, I would feed a lot more oats. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to mix 2 different things. So we have corn, all right, which is at 9%, and we are going to mix soybean meal with it. Okay, and we're going to have the desired fat outcome of 11% finisher. And so what we're going to do is we're going to mix 9% with 47% in order to get 11%. So we're going to see how many parts of each. So the way we do this is we cross subtract. 9 minus 11 is 2. I know that it's negative 2, but you're just looking at the difference, okay? And 47 minus 11 is 36, okay? And so what this will mean is we'll have 36 parts corn and only 2 parts soybean meal.
Hey, Mom,
back in the day when I was doing this, we would have corn, and then what we would do is we would have a protein ration, and you would take a cup and you'd measure this out and you get your parts. So we have 36 parts corn, 2 parts soybean meal. So how many parts is that total? It's 38. All right? It's 38 parts total. All right? And so what we have is we take 36 divided by 38, and we take 2 divided by 38. And what we'll do is we'll get a percentage. So if we have 36 parts out of 38 parts that are corn, and 2 parts out of 38 parts that are soybean, that equals 94.7% or 0.947% corn that we're going to use in the diet, and 0.053. So if we were just using these 2 components to get this, and this isn't what we would do, but if you're just doing this, if you had 750 pounds of corn or 750 pounds of feed, this would equal, you're going to use 710.5 pounds of corn and 39.5 pounds of soybeans. So how did we get these numbers? We find the percentage by subtracting across and this is going to go with this number, this is going to go with this number. You add up your total parts, so 36 plus 32 equals 38. Then what you do is you divide this to get these numbers here, you divide this to get this number here, and then you multiply that times the total amount of feed that you are making. So this is what people along the United States do every day when making feedstuffs. But a lot of times there's about 5 to 10 different ingredients that are going into those instead of what we're doing today. So what we might do the next time, learn and go a different step and go a little higher with 2 or 3 or 4 different types of feed going into a different diet. But that's what I want you to do today. Utilize that. I'm going to put 1 or 2 problems on an assignment here in just a few minutes. And if you guys could have those on Canvas and answer those 2 questions in a multiple choice format. I hope you guys have a wonderful Easter and a happy Easter. God bless you all, and enjoy your day outside.